All right, a Tim question. Well, what could this possibly be about? Does turning a monitor off and on degrade/damage it or reduce its lifespan? I have a habit of turning my monitors off when getting up to do something. Is it better to leave the monitor on if I'm only gone for a short time, or does it not really matter? I probably turn it off and on 8+ times a day. So maybe is this a depend type question?
Maybe. I wouldn't have. So first of all, I wouldn't have thought that power cycling a monitor would cause too many issues for that product, because it's meant to be turned on and off. Like if you turn off your PC, it's going to turn off. So, power cycling you may run into issues with like the heat cycle. So obviously you let the monitor warm up for normal operation over time. You turn it off, it cools down, and generally components don't. It's not ideal to be constantly ramping up heat, cooling it down, ramping up, cooling it down. It is, of course, designed for that, but the more you do it, there is a potential for risk. But the main thing I would think would degrade the monitor is actually leaving it on. And that's because one of the more likely things to degrade over time is the backlight. So if you're just leaving your monitor on at your standard brightness and the backlight's rated at 10,000, 20,000 hours or however long, you're using up part of that time by keeping it on, whereas turning it off, you're potentially extending the longevity of the backlight. Of course, that's going to depend on the monitor type and technology and everything of how long the backlight's supposed to last. I know there's been lots of improvements to make that last a very long time these days. But if it's OLED, it's a different question. It's very likely to degrade if you keep it on. So
yeah, I mean, a lot of people have had monitors they've run for a decade and they still work. I know I've got some decade-old monitors that still they appear to look as good as the day I got them.
Yeah,
so probably not something you really need to worry about too much.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about either of these circumstances.
No.
Whether you turn it on or off or leave it on shouldn't be an issue. Obviously, if you've got a monitor prone to burn in, that's the only real concern that I would have. Like OLED technology, very old
Definitely
LCDs.
wouldn't leave them on, yeah.
Definitely wouldn't leave those on.
Not without a screensaver.
Everything else, most of the monitors I've used, I just leave on for a very long time, like all day, and it's been no problem. So
yeah, it's not a new technology either, like monitors.
Very mature.
Probably pretty well ironed out. And again, like some people have their monitor. How is it any different having the monitor go to sleep after 10 minutes of inactivity opposed to just flicking it off?
I'd say it's pretty similar.
Pretty
right?
similar behavior, right?
Off
so, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have like 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it may be of inactivity, turn the monitor off. Mine's an hour because, but
they're designed for that.
Yeah.
They're designed for that. And even if it was a heat cycling issue, like a monitor is only going to run at like 30 degrees, maybe 35 degrees.
It's not extreme temperatures.
Yeah. So you may be cycling it between 20 and 35 degrees Celsius. Like that's not a big difference. We're not talking about like a CPU going from 20 to like 90, 100 degrees. So
even though they do that constantly.
Even though they do it constantly and they're completely fine doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's an issue to worry about.